Throughout history, death sentences have been used not just to eliminate criminals and enemies, but also to serve as public warnings. In many societies, death was not only inevitable, it was orchestrated to be slow, painful, and horrifying. Here, we journey through time and cruelty to rank 10 of the most brutal execution methods ever devised, climbing from grim to truly grotesque. But before we continue, 10. Breaking wheel. The Catherine wheel. The breaking wheel was a method of slow and torturous execution used throughout medieval Europe. The condemned would be tied to a large wheel, and their limbs shattered with a heavy iron bar. Sometimes, the broken body was left on display for days, prolonging the suffering and humiliating the victim even in death. Although cruel, some victims succumbed quickly if the executioner was merciful, thus earning its place at number 10. 9. Sawing in half. A particularly gruesome punishment. Sawing in half was practiced in various ancient cultures, including parts of Asia and Europe. Victims were hung upside down, allowing blood to pool in the brain and keeping them conscious longer. Executioners would then saw through the body from the groin downward. Death came slowly, and the victim remained alive through much of the horrific ordeal. 8. Lingqi, death by 1,000 cuts. An infamous Chinese form of execution that lasted until the early 20th century. Lingqi involved slicing the victim's body piece by piece over hours, sometimes even days. Pieces of flesh were methodically removed while keeping the person alive as long as possible. It was designed not only to kill but to shame the soul of the executed, ensuring torment in the afterlife. 7. The brazen bull. Invented in ancient Greece, the brazen bull was an execution device designed for theatrical cruelty. Victims were locked inside a hollow bronze bull, and a fire was lit underneath. As the metal heated, the person inside roasted alive. Ingeniously cruel, the bull's mouth was designed to amplify the victim's screams, making it sound like the bull was bellowing in pain. 6. Flaying alive. Execution by flaying, the removal of the skin, was reserved for those who committed grave crimes or acts of betrayal. Ancient Assyrians, medieval Europeans, and even Aztecs used this method. It could take hours or even longer for the victim to die, all while suffering unimaginable agony as the skin, the body's largest organ, was systematically peeled away. 5. Impalement. Impalement is most famously associated with Vlad the Impaler, the inspiration for the Dracula legend. Victims were forced onto a large, sharpened stake that was often inserted through the rectum or vagina and pushed up through the body, sometimes emerging from the mouth or shoulder. With careful positioning, the victim could stay alive for hours, even days, before dying in excruciating pain. 4. Boiling alive. Boiling a person alive was used as a death sentence in several cultures. From medieval England to ancient China, victims were submerged in a vat of boiling oil, water, or even molten metal. In some cases, executioners would slowly heat the liquid to prolong the agony, cooking the victim alive in a horrifying blend of torture and death. 3. Scaphism. One of the most disturbing methods comes from ancient Persia. In scaphism, the condemned was trapped between two boats or hollowed-out tree trunks, force-fed milk and honey, which caused diarrhea, and smeared with more honey to attract insects. Over days, insects would slowly devour the body as the person remained alive, covered in sores, filth, and excruciating pain until they finally succumbed to dehydration, septic infection, or being literally eaten alive. 2. Crucifixion. Known worldwide through the story of Jesus Christ, crucifixion was a form of execution designed for maximum public humiliation, pain, and slow death. Victims were nailed or tied to a wooden cross and left to hang for hours or days, often dying from a combination of blood loss, dehydration, shock, and asphyxiation as their bodies collapsed under their own weight. Roman crucifixions were calculated acts of terror, each one a grisly public spectacle. 1. The Blood Eagle. Topping the list is the Blood Eagle, an alleged Norse ritualistic execution that is as horrifying as it is legendary. The victim's back was sliced open, the ribs broken away from the spine to resemble wings, and the lungs pulled out to flutter over the shoulders. This execution was supposedly reserved for the worst enemies, such as traitors. If the victim showed signs of weakness or screamed during the process, their soul was dishonored for eternity. Whether myth or historical reality, The blood eagle remains the most grotesque death sentence ever imagined. Please don't forget to comment and tell us your opinion on the video.